The message came through just after midnight, glowing on my phone like a flare fired into a dark sky, urgent and trembling even without sound. The words were simple but heavy enough to stop my breathing for a second, telling me she needed help because a door had been locked against her and she had nowhere safe to go, and before I could even think, my heart had already decided what my hands would type back, offering the only thing I truly had to give in that moment: space, shelter, and the promise that she would not be alone tonight. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the quiet power of showing up when it matters most, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel, because stories like this only live on when people choose compassion. Her name was Hannah, and mine is Matthew, and our lives had once brushed past each other like strangers on the same train platform, close enough to notice but never close enough to stop. We had grown up in neighboring towns in Ohio, gone to the same high school for a short time before her family moved, and reconnected years later through social media with the easy familiarity of people who remembered the same streets and the same seasons. She had always been warm, thoughtful, the kind of person who remembered birthdays and asked how your mother was doing, and when she moved back to the state after college, we met for coffee once, then again, until life pulled us in different directions without any dramatic ending, just the quiet drift of adult responsibilities. That night, as rain lashed against my windshield and the highway lights blurred into long streaks, all I could think about was how fear sounds when it is typed instead of spoken. I did not know all the details, only that she had been living with someone she thought loved her, and that love had slowly hardened into control, into rules that were never spoken out loud but enforced all the same. The locked door was not just wood and metal, it was the final proof that the place she called home no longer belonged to her. By the time I reached the address she sent, she was standing under a flickering porch light, soaked, arms wrapped around herself, eyes wide with the kind of shock that comes after realizing you have been trapped. The drive back to my small apartment felt endless and strangely quiet, the kind of silence where thoughts echo too loudly. I could feel her exhaustion beside me, not just from the rain or the hour, but from months of swallowing fear and telling herself it was not that bad, that things would get better if she just tried harder. When we arrived, I handed her a towel and pointed to the spare room I barely used, suddenly aware of how ordinary my life looked compared to the storm she had just stepped out of. She slept for nearly 12 hours, and I sat on the couch through most of the night, listening to the rain slow down, wondering how many people needed help but never found the courage or the number to ask. The days that followed were careful and quiet. Hannah moved through my apartment like someone afraid of making noise, apologizing for things that did not need apologies, asking permission for basics that should have been hers by right. I watched her relearn how to relax her shoulders, how to breathe without bracing for impact, and it made something in my chest ache with a mix of anger and tenderness. She began to talk, not all at once but in fragments, about how love had been promised and then withheld, how affection had been used like a leash, how the locked door was not the first boundary crossed, only the last one she could no longer ignore. For me, the challenge was learning how to help without trying to fix everything. I wanted to shield her from the world, to take on her pain as if that would somehow erase it, but healing does not work that way. There were moments when I felt helpless, when I questioned whether opening my door had been enough, and whether I was strong enough to support someone standing at the edge of rebuilding her life. Money was tight, my apartment small, and my own past not free of scars, but every morning I saw her sit by the window with a cup of coffee, watching the light change, and I knew that offering room at my place had been the right answer, even if I did not yet know where it would lead. Weeks passed, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, things began to shift. Hannah found a job at a local bookstore, the kind with creaky floors and handwritten recommendation cards tucked into shelves. She started laughing again, softly at first, as if testing whether joy was still allowed. We cooked simple meals together, shared quiet evenings with old movies playing in the background, and learned how to exist in the same space without fear or expectation. What grew between us was not dramatic or rushed, but rooted in safety, in the knowledge that neither of us owed the other anything beyond respect and honesty. Still, the past has a way of reaching forward. There were nights when she woke from dreams shaking, when a slammed car door outside made her flinch, when the idea of trusting anyone again felt impossible. During those moments I struggled too, torn between wanting to be close and wanting to give her space, afraid that any misstep could reopen wounds. I learned that love, or whatever this was becoming, required patience more than passion, presence more than promises. It meant staying even when it was uncomfortable, listening without defensiveness, and understanding that healing is not linear. One evening, as autumn settled over our town and the trees burned red and gold, Hannah stood in the doorway of the living room and told me, not with words but with the steadiness of her gaze, that she felt safe. That simple truth carried more weight than any declaration ever could. In that moment I realized that the room I had offered was more than physical space. It was a beginning. A place where both of us were learning how to choose courage over fear. As you watch this story unfold, if it is touching something inside you, if it reminds you of a moment when someone showed up for you or when you wished someone had, please take a second to engage with this video, to like it, share it, and let the algorithm carry stories of hope to people who need them. Life did not suddenly become perfect after that. There were legal steps Hannah had to take, boundaries to enforce, and hard conversations that left her drained. There were days when I doubted myself, when I wondered if I was strong enough to be what she needed without losing who I was. But growth rarely comes without discomfort, and slowly, through shared effort and mutual respect, we found our footing. We attended church together some Sundays, sitting in the back, listening to sermons about grace and restoration, finding quiet comfort in the idea that broken things are not discarded, but restored with care. Before this story ends, I want to ask you for something special. Please comment below and share your thoughts or a message of encouragement, because your words might be exactly what someone else scrolling through needs to read tonight. In time, Hannah found her own apartment, just a few streets away, a place filled with sunlight and plants she insisted on keeping alive. Helping her move was bittersweet, a reminder that offering room at my place had never been about holding on, but about helping her stand on her own again. We did not label what we were, but we did not need to. What mattered was that a locked door had once made her feel powerless, and an open one had helped her remember her worth. If this story touched your heart, if it made you believe a little more in kindness and second chances, please don't scroll away silently. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it, because somewhere, someone is staring at a locked door, hoping there is still room at someone's place, and stories like this can remind them that hope is real.